As we all know, there are some things in life you really have to think about before doing them. For example, marriage. You know you will be with that person for the rest of your life, so you have to be really, really sure to pick the right person. And it's similar with learning a language. I know it's a bit of a weird comparison, but imagine your target language is your spouse. And even though you devote yourself to your married partner for a whole life, you have to devote yourself to your language for at least 2 or 3 years very intensely if you want to learn it up to fluency. And it really takes daily effort or a few hours per week, which is not easy for us people who are just ordinary people working 9 to 5, maybe having a family, hitting the gym, wanting to cook something in the evening. There is not much time to study, but it is a struggle. Everybody who says, you can learn it in half a year, shut up. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you have to be really, really sure what language you want to learn and if it makes sense to learn it. I'm saying this because recently I had a very good conversation with somebody and some very good points came out which I want to elaborate on. Firstly, the language that you learn must have a benefit for you. Let's say person A focuses on building their own business in the next 3 years. Person B learns Korean up to fluency. Now after 3 years, person A makes 10 grand in a month.
What color is your brigade?
And person B speaks Korean fluently. And now, what benefit was it to study Korean? Hear me out first. If you don't define that in the beginning, before starting, you will maybe find yourself having wasted thousands of hours of your lifetime and you will never get these hours back. Now, I'm not saying money is more beneficial than anything else in life, and more beneficial than learning a new language. We all know that money is just a means to an end. Maybe person B learned Korean in order to move to Korea, to meet new people there, meet the love of his life, and then maybe get married, be happy ever after, and then what is 10 grand a month compared to that? So happiness is what matters. So to sum it up, what benefit will the language that you are about to learn give you in your personal life? After all, it's not just a hobby, it's also an investment. Before you buy something expensive that you want to use for the next years, you also don't just pick the first one you see. You make a comparison, you do research, you ask people and that kind of stuff, and it should be the same with languages. You compare a few languages and then you decide what language you want to learn, or you decide if it makes sense to learn a language at all. Now secondly, in all honesty, learning a language can be just a big waste of your precious lifetime. Language learning is not for everyone, and that's totally alright. But if you decide to learn a language, then not just to boast with it and say, I'm learning Japanese, I know how to say this and that in Japanese. Just to find yourself, after a year, breaking up your language learning journey and then judging yourself for the rest of your life because you have not continued. I know exactly if I would stop learning Chinese now, saying, it's just too difficult, it just takes too long. And then after a few years I would hear somebody speak Chinese, I would remember it and I would just hate myself for not having stayed consistent. I would look back and say, what a loser I am that I don't reach any of my goals. So it actually can really mess up your self-esteem. And that leads us to the third point, which is consistency. Like many things in life, consistency is key. This is absolutely nothing new to us. Whatever it may be, learning a language, bodybuilding, or a healthy nutrition, while staying consistent in these things and working towards the goal daily is the fastest way to see progress. It's also a curse on the other side. Because if you fall out of this daily hustle, even just for a short time, you lose so much progress. This is me with Chinese right now. I'm doing something daily for my Chinese goal. I read short stories or I listen to comprehensible input and that kind of stuff. But I don't learn new characters every day. When I started, I learned like 20, 30 new characters every day. Up to 600 characters was very quick. And then from 600, 700 characters on, it started moving so slowly because I don't know, because of this best Russian word to describe it, suyeta. Like, just the vanity of life, and right now traveling, I just cannot sit down in silence and write down new characters because whenever I learn new characters, I actually have to write them down. And this just doesn't happen on a daily basis anymore. Often I told myself, at least 3 characters a day. At least 3 characters a day should be feasible, but I can't even stay consistent in this simple task, which I find extremely annoying, so I can't wait to settle down in the city again. I'm moving to Brisbane right now, and there I hope to develop this daily task of learning 5 or 10 new characters every day. Anyway, what I'm saying here is times can change, and a difficult time in your life can occur, and then language learning is just not a priority anymore. And then you haven't learned something for 2 months and you forgot so much already, and this can be really, really exasperating. However, we all know there is no other way to get there but to stay consistent. It's same with a race. It doesn't matter how difficult the way was to get there, it only matters if you got through that finish line. If you kept moving forward. I sound like Rocky. If you keep moving forward. Anyway, guys, that was it. I hope it helps. It was nothing new, no new wisdom or enlightenment, just some reminders that we all need to be aware of. And I know that many of you guys can relate to that, so let's just encourage each other in the comments and share whatever is helpful for this language learning community. Alright, bye bye, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, до свидания, wale, 再见.